Hey guys, Nishquick here. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite gameplay inclusions in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, and that is the Affinity Goals system. This Affinity Goal system is so great because of one thing, and that's because it brings back a mechanic from an older Xenoblade Chronicles game and puts its own twist on it and modernizes it, and honestly, in my opinion, makes it even better. And that old mechanic is the Frontier Nav in Xenoblade Chronicles X. So let's talk about this Affinity Goal and Frontier Nav mechanic within the Xenoblade series. And if you guys enjoy content on Xenoblade, if you enjoyed Future Redeemed, and if you're looking forward to more Nintendo, Zelda, and Xenoblade content, hit the like button. It really helps out a small channel like mine, and hit the subscribe button because we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to hit that goal by the end of 2023, so help me reach my goal. Without further ado, let's talk about the Affinity Goal and Frontier Nav systems within the Xenoblade Chronicles series. So I want to first of all talk about a problem I've been having with open world games lately. I've been having open world fatigue, and that is with particular games, and I am honestly not having open world fatigue with other games. Here's the thing, I've been noticing that a lot of open world video games, like a lot of Sony first party games, or even third party games, I'll give a few names, like Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, Assassin's Creed, a lot of these kinds of games, they have a lot of checklist objectives, and with these checklist objectives, you can just mark them on your quest marker and they'll tell you exactly where to go. And what this does for me, as a person who likes to explore in vast open worlds, is it negates that exploration for me. It eliminates the exploration because I'm not going out and finding all these things myself. When it comes to good and enticing and exciting open world games like Xenoblade, Zelda, Elden Ring, if the objectives and world design are blended together in such a way that it entices me and incentivizes me to explore, then that is a true open world experience for me. And I really felt that with a game like Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't talk about X much on this channel, but I really should. I've been playing it a lot lately. And you can really tell that this game inspired a lot of elements and a lot of systems in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So let's talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X's Frontier Nav system. In the world of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is the planet called Mira, there are 5 continents: Primordia, Noctilum, Oblivia, Sylvalum, and Koldros. And each continent has its own map. Within each map, each area of the map is separated by hexagons on the map. And each little hexagon has something to do within that region, within that area, and within that radius. And you can see it on the map, and it's on your gamepad. It's a very cool inclusion of the Wii U gamepad within a Wii U game for once, actually. A hexagon can indicate the presence of an affinity quest, a standard quest, a tyrant / a unique monster, treasure, or a probe which you can install, and those probes expand the map even more and unlock more hexagons which you can view and find more things within. Whenever you complete one of these hexagon regions, for example, if you go to an area with treasure in the hexagon, if you complete that region, you'll get a check mark, and your map completion of that continent will increase. So the more hexagons you complete within a certain continent, for example, Primordia, the more hexagons you complete, the more standard quests, affinity quests, unique monsters, and treasures you come across, the more your completion percentage of Primordia will increase. This really encourages exploration because it points you in the right direction on where to go. But when you find a hexagon, you won't know exactly where that point of interest is. For example, you approach a hexagon where there's supposed to be treasure. You don't know where exactly that treasure is. So you have to run around, explore high and low to find where that treasure is. Once you find that treasure, you better hope you have the necessary field skills to unlock that treasure. And once you do, that section on the Frontier Nav will be complete. So a lot of this incentivizes exploration by not really dictating you in the right direction of where to go, but incentivizing searching and finding these specific points of interest within the map itself. I think that's very cool. And now let's talk about Xenoblade Chronicles Future Redeemed, because a lot of people missed this Frontier Nav system within the series, but I realized once I started Future Redeemed and I got the tutorial for the Affinity Growth, I realized that the system is sort of returned, finally, within a Xenoblade game, and it's returned in a very unique and very refined form. So Affinity Growth is basically a system that is separated with about 5 sections. You have Affinity Scenes, the Enemypedia, the Collectopedia, map objectives, the community system, and just finding various city folk within the world of Ionios. Each of these objectives incentivize you to explore in different ways, but what's great about all of this is the affinity goals actually give you affinity points, which can be used to spec up your characters by giving them skills and upgrading their arts. That's one thing I was missing with Xenoblade Chronicles X. I loved exploring Mira, I loved filling out the map and completing the Frontier Nav, but it didn't really give me a genuine reason to complete this Frontier Nav, other than just expanding the map and discovering more. The only real necessary incentive to do all this is sometimes you need to reach a necessary percentage of completion within a certain continent to progress the story, or unlock a certain affinity quest for a specific character. With Future Redeemed, you're going to be exploring and doing this affinity system a lot. Because, of course, you want your characters to get stronger. You want to get the art canceling skill as soon as possible. You want to keep your characters in tip-top shape by leveling up their arts, their talent arts, their skills, their chain attack bonuses, and all that. And it really, really incentivizes you and also somewhat forces you to explore. Sometimes if you come across a massive roadblock, if a boss is too difficult, or if a challenge or a side quest is too hard, or a unique monster is too tough, you can just go back, grind some affinity, explore the world, and you will get stronger. So let's look at each of these things that can expand the affinity growth within Future Redeemed. Affinity Scenes are sort of like heart-to-hearts from the prior Xenoblade games. You come across an area, and if you are at a certain part in the story, you can listen to these voiced affinity scenes of characters talking about the past and how they're feeling about certain situations within the game itself. Of course, this is a lot of fan service, but sometimes these affinity scenes are located in secret areas and hard to find regions. So sometimes if you're awarded with finding a secret area, you might also be awarded with an affinity scene and get some affinity points. Speaking of secret areas, the map objectives are the meat of the affinity growth system. For every landmark and every location and every secret area you find, you get some affinity points, but you also get affinity points for building and forging ether towers, ether lifts, ether masts, all these kinds of things, even ladders, and many things that are broken. If Nicole can fix them with the materials you currently have, you can access new areas and secret areas and locations. And of course, just by building this stuff, you get affinity points. Incursions and unique monsters. This is sort of like the skirmishes you find in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. These incursions and unique monsters will give you affinity points, but they will also add to the Enemypedia. The Enemypedia is very great because whenever you see enemies walking around in Future Redeemed, they might have a yellow marker over their head, or they might have a green marker. The green marker indicates that they have been fought the necessary amount of times to include them in the Enemypedia. A yellow marker says that if you fight this enemy more, you'll eventually register them into the Enemypedia, and of course, yes, you get some affinity points from that, but you get a lot of affinity points from these incursions and unique monsters. And also, there are these small little quests where you can help the underdog, and you save either Kavesi or Agnian soldiers or city folk from a horde of monsters, which also, you guessed it, rewards you with affinity points. Also, another thing that's really cool about the Enemypedia is it acts as like a bestiary, sort of, or bestiary, however you pronounce that word. Basically, it is like an encyclopedia for enemies. If you're missing some enemy parts which you want to add to the Collectopedia, or if you want to just find some enemies and find the best locations to find them, just look in the Enemypedia and you'll have all the information at your disposal. Another thing is containers and relic chests are littered throughout the world of Ionios within Future Redeemed. These add to your map objectives and, well, yeah, you know what they give you. You know what they're gonna give you in the end. The community system is different from Torn of the Golden Country. It is not required to progress the story, but this is where all your standard quests come from. You will have a community tree and like a community bubble where you can add people to your community, and this is somewhat like the affinity quests and standard quests within Xenoblade X, but there's not as heavy of an emphasis on this community system as games like Xenoblade Chronicles X or Torn of the Golden Country. So if side quests aren't your thing, you don't have to do this. But, you guessed it, they give you affinity points, so why not do it? Why not explore? Why not do the side quests? You're getting affinity points! Also, the X reader, which Nicole engineers, can help find a lot of these things. It can help you find city folk to bring them into the community system. It can help you find containers and relics. It can help you find certain enemies and unique monsters, and all that kind of stuff. Another thing is the Collectopedia. As you're exploring Ionios in Future Redeemed, you're gonna get a lot of these minerals, rocks, flowers, just all these random items. And the more you keep fighting enemies, you're gonna get the enemy items, the enemy horns, the enemy skins, whatever you get from enemies. A lot of these can be used to trade with people and sell to get more money, but also you can register them to the Collectopedia and get those sweet affinity points. The one thing that's a little annoying is, well, yeah, take a look at this.
That's it. Collectopedia's coming along nicely. Collectopedia's coming along nicely.
Right, that's registered.
Also, what's cool is whenever Nicole engineers and crafts an ether mast, it'll show different objectives you have not found yet. It might show you a container, but it's grayed out. It might show you a unique monster, but it's grayed out, and you still have to go find it. And that is the only kind of checklist thing within Future Redeemed. It doesn't even tell you exactly where to go. You'll just find it on a small little marker on the map, and you have to find it yourself. Another thing not tied to the affinity goal system, but something that also encourages exploration, are the unlock kits. Affinity Growth, arts, gems, and accessory unlock kits allow you to add more accessories, gems, arts, and skills to your party members. And these are tucked away in the far recesses of Ionios, and they're very, very tough to find. So there was a time when there was this one side quest, and I was not progressing in it. It was very, very, very tough. And eventually I realized the two party members that are very heavily involved in the side quest haven't been leveled up with their affinity pretty much at all. No gems, no skills, no art unlocks, anything. So I took some time to go exploring. I found some affinity growth kits, I found some gem unlock kits, art unlock kits. I came back, spec'd them up, and I beat the side quest in one shot. So the thing with Frontier Nav and the Affinity Growth system is they are kind of like checklists, sort of like how Horizon and Assassin's Creed and Far Cry do all these checklists. But the main thing is, I said this in the past, they don't tell you exactly where to go. And that is the one thing that encourages all this exploration. I mentioned before the ether mass can be used, but again, the ether mass will just give you the location. It won't track your objective and tell you this is exactly where this point of interest is. You still have to find it yourself. X makes exploration in Frontier Nav easier when getting the skill, just like how ether mass make the affinity growth system a little easier. And the skill is something you get much later into the game. I have received my skill in Xenoblade Chronicles X, And I have been playing this game for about 35 to 40 hours. And that's how far you need to go to get the skill. Because if the skill was given to you at the very beginning of the game, it would trivialize a lot of this. It wouldn't make you learn the whole topography and layout of Mira. And it would just kind of cheapen the entire experience, in my opinion. And I will say, I have received the skill, but I also have not received the flight module. And from what I've heard, the flight module doesn't necessarily expand a lot of the world. It does, mind you, but a lot of these Frontier Nav hexagons can be found and completed even without the flight module, and honestly, even without the skill. So yeah, none of this can be easily done in the early game, so exploration is your only option, and Xenoblade does that very, very well. All these mechanics, all the mechanics within the Affinity Growth system, all the mechanics within the Frontier Nav system, make Xenoblade Chronicles X and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed true open world experiences, sort of like all the other Xenoblade games, and Breath of the Wild, and soon to be Tears of the Kingdom, and of course, Elden Ring. These games have really, really hit home what an open world experience is to me. And I just want to finish off by saying, Monolith Soft knows how to make open worlds. They make the best open worlds, in my opinion, because they've made the open worlds for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they've done the open worlds for every single Xenoblade game, and that includes X. Like I said before, the world design also has to be great. There has to be a variation of terrain, areas, topography, landscapes, and beautiful vistas to explore to incentivize me to go out into this world and find all these things and spec up my characters. And Xenoblade has that. Mira has that in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and of course Ionios has that in Xenoblade 3. I love these systems within games that really push you and sort of force you to go explore. And that's what I loved so much about Xenoblade 3. Sometimes the game just casually tells you, hey, just stop and smell the roses. Just check out Ionios, and maybe you might get a little treat here and there. And in the end, your Rex can infinitely double spinning edge because he's got art canceling, and his double spinning edge is so far unlocked, and he's so strong, and yeah, he's a crit machine. So what did you guys think of this? If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you think about the open worlds of Monolith Soft games. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day, and go play some great games today. Like Xenoblade Chronicles X if you have it, and also Future Redeemed. I'll see you guys in the next one later.